just about do, mate. Surely. There you go. That's outstanding. That much talent running around in our own backyard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the semi-pros. The semi-pros. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Let's go.
Welcome along to the Semi-Pros for another week. Great to have your company wherever you may be tuning in to us. Huge show again this week. Cruise with me. Troy Gurski, how are you? A little bit dark.
Great, mate. Yeah. What's that, buddy?
A little bit dark over there. Were you mood lighting or something?
Yeah, a bit of mood lighting.
In the dungeon.
In the dungeon, exactly. No, how's looks like a bit of sports around the corner, isn't it? So looks like the NRL's going, and we might see a bit of sport out in the grounds, which would be nice, and on the TVs.
Yeah, a bit happening. Steve Glover, how you going?
Mate, very well. Busy week. Flying. Plenty happening. Yeah.
That's it. Plenty making news this week. Anti-vaccinations and
I'll tell you what, old Bryce Cartwright's ruffled a few feathers, and interesting.
Yeah,
might pop up later on.
You had the flu needle?
I've never had a flu needle. No.
I got it once about 8 years ago because my mother worked in a doctor's surgery. Got the flu. Never had it again. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I had it for the first time ever a couple of weeks ago.
You crying?
Against my will, like Bryce. No, for different reasons.
Been over same police.
I sort of haven't had this thing in my life. Why should I start now? But anyway, so I sort of got the ultimatum, go down, got the jab. So haven't had flu or cold or anything since. But what do you reckon? Should he be allowed to play? No?
No.
Well, I read. I was watching something with Gallen and them, and Gal raised a pretty good point. He said, well, if the rest of them have had it, then what's it matter? Because they've had the needle against it, haven't they? So what's it matter if he does or doesn't? He's the only one's going to get the flu, on their theory.
Oh, I don't know. Steve, what do you reckon? What were you saying?
Possibly. No, I listened to a good thing this morning, actually, and written into it becomes a workplace health and safety, an all health and safety requirement of that workplace being the NRL. So he's basically, it's like not wearing protective equipment when you're cutting a lump of steel or something. If you choose not to do it, then you're against the
PPE.
The guidelines. Yeah, yep. So
be in all your swims and that sort of stuff, wouldn't it, Steve? Knowing, your good swims that you have and that sort of stuff, your safe work method statements and things you'd have on your Paragon sites?
I do, mate. Do you want a copy? I can forward it over email in about 30 seconds if you'd like.
Just checking.
But mind you, the NRL's the boss, aren't they?
Correct.
That's right.
They're your employer. If that's what they say you're going to do, if you don't want to do it, you don't get paid. Simple as that. So,
I liked another one too. At one point, they said that it'll soon test their belief anyway when they say you're not getting paid, won't it?
Yeah.
Well, the other fellow, what's his name? Kelly, he changed his mind quick.
Yeah, a few of them changed their mind quick smart, didn't they?
Was his religion, though? I think he said the whole religion thing, didn't he?
Not sure. I'm not sure what the reason. But am I being out of line here and saying that from if you're a Titans fan, you prefer Bryce wasn't playing, wouldn't you? Seriously?
Yeah, bleeding him not to get it. Maybe he's getting paid not to get it.
Seriously, he's like, I know they're not going that well in general, but he's been one of the greatest disappointments since he lobbed on the glitter strip, hasn't he?
Yeah. He is perfect to our segment, Rocks and Dimes, isn't he?
100%. It's
Tells some
tailor-made
good
to him.
stuff and absolute garbage.
Hasn't he?
Easy loves an offload. Loves pushing one.
I think we got a special guest backstage anyway tonight, mate. So ready to rock and roll.
Exactly. Do you want to introduce him? Oh, we've got a video. Special guest joining us on the show tonight is none other than Brad Newley. He's up next, I think.
Cue the video.
Yeah.
Drum roll.
We're on to something now.
Get him the ball.
Newly found by Plumlingville. Want to play the remainder of this grand final series of scripted system basketball this afternoon. Newly in the corner. That might light it up.
Good defense, but better offense, that possession.
To Sean Tate. He gave it a look. Newly dropped a couple. Drops this one, and that's huge.
It's a good meter behind the three-point line. And Tate, doing what he has to.
Newly saves it. They all come at him and he's good enough to lift it over them into the glass.
So Aussie hoop star Brad Newley joins us on the show. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, guys. How are we? I'm just sitting in the
Excellent.
backstage there having a little listen to you guys. Interesting topics all around the world of sport at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just for those that are watching in our video, where are you? You're an interesting backdrop.
I'm in my daughter's stay-at-home classroom, so it's only working 2 days a week now, 3 days, so slowly winding that down. But, yeah, this is the best room for sound in my house at the moment.
And how's that transition been, mate? Pro basketball to homeschool teacher?
Yeah, I do the PE lessons, which go for about 15 minutes around 3 o'clock every day with my son as well. So that's my input into schooling.
You'd be very popular then. So, look, Brad, on a basketball front at the moment, not much happening, obviously, but what is the situation for you guys, professional basketballs at the moment through the NBL, obviously off-season, as we know, you're having a break now as is, but very, very different off-season and uncertain with what's happening moving forward. So what is happening?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, in that quick show before, we were in the finals and all that stuff, and they got brought short due to the COVID situation. Probably about a month ago now, that the players met with the NBL, the players union met with the NBL, and through our representatives, they've come up with an idea that, you know, we have to take a bit of a pay hit, and you know, if you want to be on board, you can take it. If you don't want to be on board, you can leave it, and you can stay unpaid. So basically, we've kind of taken a bit of a hit in the short term to help the league survive, because we don't rely on TV and those kind of things, and kind of taking a bit of relief off the owners' pockets for the short term in hope that things can get back up and running in the near future. But it's still a lot up in the air. It's out of our control. It's a lot of government decisions that need to happen.
But how was that? We saw the footage there, and generally that was a grand final series against Perth. Like, you'd be playing out in front of packed stadiums. There'd be chocolate blocks, especially over in Perth there. I think, well, you guys fit about 20,000 too, I think, don't you? And to have, I think you had a limit of 500 people.
Was it 250 to start with? Yeah.
Mate, how was the, like, obviously it's going to be generally a game you're up for, you're pumped full of emotion. How was it? It obviously was different, but how did it feel going into those sort of games, knowing there was nobody there?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was pretty disappointing because you know, we had such a fantastic year. We stayed on top all year and played in front of some fantastic crowds. I think we had 17,500 for one of our games, and you know, we get to the end of the year where you need that fan support, and it's kind of taken away from us, I guess, through a circumstance which we probably won't see again for a very long time. It was tough, but, like, to be honest, once the ball goes in the air, you're on, and you take the crowd out of it. I mean, a small example I could use, I guess, I'm there shooting my free throws, and I can hear my 2-year-old son yelling "Dad," like, clear as day. Probably not more than what the opposition fans were just hearing. I was wondering if he was all right. So. Yeah, it was an unusual situation, and the way it finished out, it was like a bit of a very empty feeling, and I guess a lot of us have been struggling with how to deal with it in the last 6 or so weeks since what it's been since then. But, you know, that's you look at other sports, some aren't going. No, like, it's just the way the world is right now, and, you know, hopefully things clear up and we can get back out there soon.
Brad,
the decision to not play. So we know the series obviously didn't go the full 5. How hard was that from the Kings' point of view? Like, we've read or heard bits and pieces. Obviously, there was a very emotional meeting and players' thoughts, and Andrew Bogut's had quite a lot to say about it, as he tends to do, obviously. But can you give us an insight in, not looking, within the realms of that decision and how that came about and how tough that was as a group to make the call that you ultimately did?
Yeah, we had a lot of factors in our team which probably a lot of people from the outside weren't aware of. Our assistant coach, he's based in Germany, and he had his partner and child over there. We had 4 American players involved with our team, and a Brazilian guy as well. And there was a point in time where, had we travelled to Perth, potentially we could have got stuck there for quite a while, and these guys wouldn't have been able to fly out and go and see their families. A couple of players had ill family members back in California. In the meantime, California's getting locked down, so there was a bit of stuff coming from the foreigners, which a lot of us had played overseas before and felt kind of we'd never been in this situation. We knew what they were going through, not having family members around, all that kind of stuff. And I guess that kind of put us on the same page as how they were feeling. That had a bit to do with it. We had an independent doctor come in and point out some things. And one of the questions we said to him said, mate, if you had to go to a wedding this Friday, and that's when game 4 would have been, would you go? And he said, absolutely not. And we all kind of looked at each other and went, well, what does that have to say? And there's a few other little bits and pieces. Like there was someone who had COVID on Perth's flight back from when they played us, and we weren't aware of that. And there was all these little bits and pieces that popped up, and it was a real tough circumstance. And I guess in the long run now, we look back and we kind of say, well, I think we did make the right decision given what's happened around the world and the severity of how quick it exploded.
Brad, with the new announcement with the NBL cuts, what does that sort of mean for you guys with the players? And how's that all sort of come about?
I'm actually applying for a job at a petrol station to work after training. No, I guess what it does, it with training and stuff right now, it's still a lot up in the air. Until we know an exact confirmed date when we're going to start, I think that's when we'll be able to kind of look at how we go about it. It's annoying. It's frustrating. You know, you've worked hard a lot of your life to get to a stage where you're making very good money, and these kind of have it taken away from you. Normally, you get a pay cut when you play shit. Unfortunately, this thing's come through, and it's out of our hands. But you know, we're here in Sydney, we have a very good ownership, and I think we're with the right club here, and we'll just keep chipping away. And who knows what, you know, how our trainings will look. It probably will be a little bit less to give guys opportunities to do extra study and those kind of things if they need that kind of stuff. So how the landscape's looking right now is a bit out up in the air, but I think lucky we're with our clubs and we can work with them closely.
And mate, going on to your career too. So you basically come out of the junior program, OAS, and went straight into the NBL. And you're one of those guys that went straight in the NBL and were a major player into that. So how did that all kick off? So the early stages of the NBL, and then moving forward, where we saw you sort of get some international opportunities pretty quickly after that as well.
Yeah. I guess I was lucky enough that I kind of knew at an age that I was ready to be a pro. And sorry, my son.
Get him on, mate.
No.
Get him on from it.
Yeah, he likes the crowd. He's like his dad. I was lucky that I got into the system at a young age and kind of backed my talent in there. I guess I used the AIS as my college, my university degree, you may say, and took that route and, didn't look back. And I guess the decision why I went pro at a young age, I looked at the Australian team and my position was a lot of guys who were starting to get in their mid to late 30s. And I thought, if I can perform on the local scene, I'm a chance to get on the radar pretty quick.
Could you talking about the Boomers, mate? Can you let us know the feeling it was that you had when you were first selected for the Boomers and what it was like to line up and play in those Olympics for the Boomers, mate?
Yeah, it was unreal. That's, as a junior player in Australia, everyone's dream was to go to Olympics. I guess the NBA wasn't seen to be that achievable. We only had 2 or 3 guys in the league. Bogut and Longley were the only ones for a lot of years that had actually gone on and made it. So for any young kid coming through their systems, the old ITC system, whatever, the dream was to go on and play for Australia. And I guess halfway through my second year in Canberra, the coach at the time, Marty Clark, said, I believe you could be an Olympian. So the thing I did, I went into my locker and my block in Canberra and put the Olympic rings, and I just would look at that every day. And I guess once I, had my name called in the boardroom over in Athens when we were having a camp by Brian Gorgian to say you're in the Olympic team was pretty special, and something that I'll never forget. Coming up against some world-class talent, and the learning and all these kind of things that I've taken out of that it really helped me in my career.
Staying on that Olympic tune, mate, we put a little post up there. Basically, you against the Dream Team back. I'm not sure what year it was, but you were actually heavily involved, like matched up, and I saw the post you put on your story today of the Mamba memories or something like that, where Kobe was in lockdown and he had the job of guarding you as well. And that, like, it's surreal to even like probably imagine that as a young fella coming through. But how was that just to be against a guy like that? He's, well, yeah, lay down Hall of Famer and done absolutely everything, and like you couldn't walk on the street, and to be matched up against a guy like that.
Yeah, I tell everybody I held him to 20. That's my go-to, and I gave him 10 or 12. But that was something that I look back on, and given what's with his death and that kind of stuff now, it's even more, I guess, in a way, sweeter. I guess the thing that I really took away from playing against him was the respect that he had. Like a lot of guys in that team were talking a bit of trash, whereas he was just very respectful of his opponent. Before the game, he asked about, he knew I was playing over in Greece, so he obviously must have read his scouting notes that Coach K had provided for the team. A lot of guys probably wouldn't even look at them because they're in that stratosphere. And I just really respected the fact that he spoke to me just as an equal, and that's something when I speak to kids now about their junior careers, and that is treat everybody the same. Don't think you're above anyone, or treat everyone on the same level. And that's one thing that speaking to Kobe and playing against him and seeing the levels he got to in his career is something that really rubbed off on me. And it just did an unbelievable thing. And I guess when you're watching him on TV, seeing the moves that he's doing and when you're a young fella and you're actually playing against him, the fact that he's doing them in your face that's something that kind of blows you away.
He must have said something, Peter. Yeah, he must have said something, surely.
Oh,
the photo there, you're saying something to him.
Too spicy. I think I was doing a pretty good job on him, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
In that game, then you said there's a few who were yarning. Who was throwing the biggest?
Chris Paul was non-stop. He, something about being able to afford to buy somebody's family popped up at some stage, and I think if anyone, he directed that one at Ingles, and in the end, I think Ingles might be having a bit of the last laugh at the moment because he's going to do pretty special things over there. Dwayne Wade, he was trying to kick people when he was shooting. Those two were pretty chippy, but LeBron and all that, they were pretty respectful, and something that you won't forget. And I'm just seeing here the London highlights. We were in that game for about 3 quarters, then the Mamba went sick, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah, we had 20 second half
Took
points
over.
or something.
Yeah,
So.
did. I must have been off him.
Yeah. I saw the highlights. You're not guarding him in a lot of them, so you're right.
Yeah, you're having a bit of a sit. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Mate, you'd be enthralled watching the Last Dance at the moment, obviously. MJ and what happened back in the 90s. For you, who's the best player you've seen?
I mean, in the flesh, like matchup, I tell a lot of everyone expects me to say Kobe, and I've never played like Jordan's the best. Like I'll say that now, but as far as someone I've actually matched up on, I'm going to say Ginobili. As far as toughness to guard in the FIBA game and in the NBA game, I felt like he was tough. Like Kobe would just rise up and shoot jumpers, but like Ginobili would try and go through you, around you, shoot threes. He was very hard to deal with in that level, and because he was such an important player on his team. To me, he was the one that I felt the hardest to guard at that level. But you look back at watching Jordan and all these kind of things, it's very impressive the fact that he was only like 6'5", 6'6", and the beatings he took and the way he performed night in, night out, it was phenomenal. Like you're watching it game, like he's playing exhibition games, hard out, all-star games. Like now guys get rested and these kind of things. Like you're talking about a very special talent. And so like I said, Ginobili, as far as matchup concern, was one of the toughest I had to deal with.
What about when you're at the Rockets? Who was training the house down while you're over there?
I didn't get the chance to be with the main team because I didn't make the final roster. I did the summer league stuff, but Aaron Brooks was involved with our summer league team, and I thought he was pretty tough. And funny enough, 15 years later, we ended up playing each other in the NBL.
Mate, wind it back just a step before that. Getting your name read out on draft night. I remember sitting at home actually watching that draft right to the end because I knew you were in the mix and hoping to hear that. And I think was there 54 or 56 picks?
54, yeah.
Yep. And you went the lucky last pick?
No, there was 60 picks and I went at 54.
60 picks, 54, mate. What was it like having, who was it? Probably the current commissioner, was it, that read your name out
I think
the
it
second
was.
round? Yeah. But to actually hear that at a time, now we've had those a heap of guys get into the NBA, not a lot through the draft, but to actually hear your name on that sort of stage, how'd you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was
sitting in front of the TV.
Yeah, I was back in Adelaide with my family there. I guess I did. It took me 2 years to kind of go through the workout process because I would go in between NBL seasons and work out over there. And I actually improved a lot going through those workouts. Like the crew, I actually worked out. So the guy that in Michael Jordan's actual personal trainer was the guy that he had a workout crew in Chicago. And a lot of young guys would go and work out with him for 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for the draft. And I was lucky enough to go and my agent set me up there in Chicago, and that's who I worked with. So we had guys like Rajon Rondo, Iguodala, Shannon Brown. So I was going up against these serious athletes, and it actually really helped my game going into that last NBL season that I played. So the hard work that I did there and hearing your name called was pretty I guess relief, and it put me into the atmosphere as far as an overseas player coming from Australia trying to make it, in Europe or wherever I would go on to play. The funny thing was I got a phone call because I guess there was a bit of a second delay between the States and here, and one of my friends in the States actually rang me and told me about a second before. So it was kind of cool, and hearing your name calls, it's very impressive, and it's something that's on your resume forever, and it really helped me out. It's helped me out in my career getting to where I needed to get to.
Now back in the NBL, mate, you had a really good Euro career over in Europe and Greece and that sort of stuff. But bringing back to the NBL, and how good is it to see the growth in the NBL since Larry Kesselman's got on board, and now it's nearly a legitimate pushing second best league sort of in the world talent wise.
Yeah, the growth's been unreal. Back in my Crocs days, one game a week might have been on TV, and that was Big Wednesday, hosted by John Casey or something like that. So, and all the other, the scouting would be like DVDs of someone with a hold your own kind of setup. So, to see it kind of go from that to every game televised, playing in front of over 10,500 every night here in Sydney. I think Sydney years ago was only about 5,000 or whatever it was. So to come into that was pretty special. And just having people talk about basketball again, I think it's been really cool to ride that wave, and hopefully we can get out of this kind of funk that the COVID everyone's in right now. And lucky enough, basketball kind of will start kind of when things are starting to loosen up a little, and people want to go and watch games and go on TV and see these kind of things. So yeah, the growth's been phenomenal, and the level. You look in the NBA now, we got 8 or 9 Aussies or however many it is, and guys leaving the finishing their careers and wanting to come back and play in the NBA. I think that speaks volumes for the league that we play in.
And for that as well, and your current Kings roster, mate, it's a roster that we haven't seen anything like that assembled. I don't think in Australia as part of an NBL team. What's it like to be part of that? And is there added pressure to know that, well, you'll obviously be called stacked and all those sort of things. And other than winning the championship, everything other than that is sort of pushed on you as a fail. Yeah,
I mean, it's been. I've done a few little interviews and stuff, and everyone's kind of said to me, losing how was that? And if you scale it right back, so when I first came to Sydney, the team was on the bottom of the heap, so the rebuild, getting to a semi-final, getting to a grand final, it does take, doesn't happen overnight. You look at Perth, the success they've had consistency in their roster, and that's something here in Sydney. The turnover of players is just every year the same. And unfortunately, with this virus happening now, that could affect it as well. But the way we were channeling is we got to a granny this year, we were 1 game short or whatever. So I think, having that stacked roster on paper is one thing, but, I think if we can continue to have the stacked roster for a little bit longer, I think, that next step will happen. You just look at Perth and the way they've gone about their business and how long it's taken them, and now they're consistently in the grand final. That's something we want to do, and I think we're right near that point.
And I'll probably ask it too here. One of your teammates who tends to be a bit outspoken, he's had with Bogut, and he's had a massive career. So he's obviously got the runs on the board to back it up. But he does say and do a few controversial things. What's the bloke like as a bloke? Like, he appears arrogant and those sort of things. And often those guys you think are like that, then you meet them, they're the polar opposite. How is he as a human?
I think he just, says how he feels, and he backs himself. And we have conversations in the locker room, and they are what he says, and that's what he believes. And I think that's why we respect him, because he actually doesn't give a shit like what people think. Yeah. And you look at his career and what he's done. I mean, he's, I met him when we were 17 at the AIS, or he was a little bit older than me, and how he is then is how he is now, and he's gone about it. He's matured, obviously. He's gotten older, but he's just self-belief and self-drive is something which got him to a level, and that's the way he's gone about his career. And if that's rubbed people up the wrong way, then so be it. But look what he's done with his career. He's arguably Australia's best product that we've ever had, and I think anyone who wants to knock him, well, I think they need to have another look at themselves and look at what he's really done. So. I've looked up to him, even though he's a little bit older than me. I still look up to him, what he's done in his career, and any advice he has for me, I listen. And I think what you see is what you get, and we respect him for that, because that's how he feels.
And lastly, from me, mate, I put a post up, shared the link today, and Johnny McGlynn threw a bit of chat, and he was wondering if you've given up lighting campfires on his carpet yet.
Yeah, the McGlynn boys. That takes me back to the old Marucci days, because I'm an old kind of Queenslander now. I'm over here.
We'll probably claim you.
Yeah, well, that were our ITC sessions every Saturday morning at Marucci Stadium with him, Greeny, Ewan, and someone else, Matty as well. Johnny was our coach, and so that would turn into Saturday, and we'd always end up back at my place, lighting fires, doing stupid things all around the coast. Yeah, I had a good time up there. It was sad when I had to leave. My dad retired, and we moved back to Adelaide, and I was just starting to break into the Queensland junior system there. So, what could have been? It could have been a Queensland rep, but that is what it is. But I managed to get on to play for Australia and represent Maroochydore in a kind of out of the way kind of way.
Righto, so we're nearly out of time with yourself, Brad, because we know you've got another commitment coming up very, 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 very soon. So just the last thing I wanted to ask you is, with these changes to the NBL, and we've seen obviously that, like a lot of sports have had to make cutbacks, etc., as you said, pay cuts, all of that. Do you have any concern just with the NBL? Because obviously we see, like we talked about your team, like Casper Ware, obviously, and a couple other big name players, just as a result of cutting an import and things like that. We've come, as Steve rightfully pointed, we've come so far as a league. Do you have any concerns? Just, I know it would have been a really hard decision to have to make, but is there any concerns around obviously just this decision that had to be made at the time that it has? Yeah, I mean, it was kind of put on us pretty quick, and a lot of us were very naive. We were all like, "Oh, we'll be right. This will blow over and things will be back." But the thing is, though, the sponsors of these teams, they're taking hits, so they're giving money into clubs. So if they can't give the money to the club can't give you that money, So when you scale it back and think about it, you're like, well, this does make a lot of sense. And right now, what's going on is, something right now is better than nothing, and that could have been an option. My hope is that, even if it's a bit of a Band-Aid year, hopefully after that it can build back up. But there was probably a lot of spending going on around the place, which probably needed to be scaled back, and I guess this situation has helped that change. Any last questions, boys, before we let him go? All good. Brad, really appreciate you joining us on the show. Wonderful to give us your time. We could talk to you all night, but just to listen to obviously that journey and just playing the dream team to getting drafted to what you're doing with the Kings. We didn't even touch on your other international career overseas, but it's been an incredible career, and obviously there's still plenty more to come. We look forward to seeing you along with everyone else in Australia back on court and doing what you do best. But appreciate you giving us your time on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me, Semi-Pros.
Brad Newley joining us there on the Semi-Pros. Thanks to Brad for being on the show. We'll take a break. After the break, we're heading out to the Southern Hotel. We're going to play Jag the Joker.
Toowoomba. On top of our takeaway and home delivery services, we now offer dine-in from this Saturday, 9 a.m, morning tea, lunch and dinner. As bookings are essential, so get in quick. We will also have our fire going.
At the Southern Hotel, our Sunday steak special has been so popular, we want to offer it on Saturday too. 180-gram rump mignon, 400-gram New York cut T-bone, or a huge 500-gram grain-fed rump, all for just $23.95. It's better at the Southern.
So there you go, plenty happening at the Southern. We are going to head out there shortly, but how good was Brad Newley?
Awesome.
Mate, he's a superstar. I remember,
Did you play against him, Steve?
No, I didn't play against him. I think I'm 3, maybe 4 years above him. And he mentioned with Johnny McGlynn and McGlynn boys coming through, he was just starting to get into that sort of development program, which we had been in for a few years at that time. And when he went through, he started to dominate under 18s, under 20s, just killed it. I think he went in as an 18-year-old to the Crocs and went out and killed it. It's not too often. We're still at the cusp there of trying to have a crack at making it there. And you don't really look up to too many guys that are 4 years younger than you and sort of have that admiration to you. When you're at that age, when you think you're 9 foot tall and bulletproof at that point and no one can beat you. But he was one of the guys definitely looked up to. Like, he was just a superb talent. And obviously to get where you are or where he went to throughout his career, he has to be. So, and a very humble sort of guy too. He said, like, Kobe wouldn't have had a bad word to say. He'd be the equivalent of the NBL like that too. Like, there'd be guys out there throwing lip, and I think he'd be out there respecting and playing hard and not giving up. So, yeah, it's a good career, and hopefully he's got a few more years to watch on.
Well, Steve, while we're just talking about that, while we're just talking about that, I must be lagging a bit here, but while we talk about that, you're pretty modest on your career and what you sort of achieved and the sort of heights you scaled. We often ask people, like, the best they've sort of matched up against and whatever it may be. In your opinion, who do you sort of hold in that regard?
Oh, I don't know. Well, the most beltings we got from, I didn't match up personally with him, but the best player I would have played, like I'd put in as a QBL guy, would be Cam Tregar. He had 75 on a fun night down at Water Street in a very somber night and just absolutely dominated. But coupled up, like Chris Goulding, he's just tough player, and like he's improved leaps and bounds since when I played him. And he was tough as hell, and he definitely got the upper hand on me one night. But I think actually the best game I would have played was in back when there was Southern Cross and SBL or State League when they were two separate comps and the winners matched up. We played Spartans. I got matched up against Damien Ryan at the time, who was playing Boomers down there, and probably had the best game. We were on par, I reckon, like going toe to toe that whole game. Then the last 5 minutes, he just pulled his finger out and absolutely belted us. So we got touched up. We got beat by 20 or 30, but like I felt like shit, handling yourself not too bad here. And then he sort of flicked the switch when it was time to go and said, "See ya."
Actually, I remember that game. I was there obviously watching you play, and you were outstanding that night. Actually, seriously, I remember that. And I'll never forget that actually, because it was we had all the finals here at Water Street or something that. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, no, that was down at Spartans that year. Yeah,
that one.
So that was the crossover after the finals probably were down at Water Street. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah,
the older you get, the better you were, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Which one? I remember another game you played. Not to try and bring up bad
memories. Who'd you get drafted to, mate?
Which one of the Cedar boys put up about 1,000 on you?
Yeah, Mick
namely
come
you.
down here and had 55, yeah, and just hit shots.
Everything.
From,
ridiculous.
I would just say, yeah. Actually, I think it must have been before that we matched up, sort of in the development programs, but. Yeah, he come in. Oh, mate, plenty of people come down to Toowoomba and had a field day back in that time. Oh, no, Brad Williamson had a field day at 50 odd Trigger.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Mate, what did you think when you walked away after Trigger had 75?
Oh, I don't know.
That's a big game.
Grabbed a handful of Vass and wiped it over. That was about it. Oh, man, that was, yeah. And I don't know. I'd love to watch the video of that. He just... Yeah,
that is red hot, isn't it?
Oh, mate, but that's what he could do. He could just score, and mate, he could just. The ball went into his hands and then went into the basket. Right.
What do you have at the half?
Run the same defense against him, or what?
No, why didn't you try something else? Like, what do you? Oh, right, I'll just sit here and let him pick off 75. But I think that they went on to win that year. I think that was when he was playing for Southwest. They had Jason Cameron. Like they had a Penny in Salo. They had guys like 4 or 5 or 6 guys that went on to an NBL career. So
but you know,
post NBL career.
I'd love to know what he had at the half because he obviously would have slowed down a bit and got. He
wouldn't slow down. He just eats points. He loves it.
He had a field day on Water Street.
If he could have got 76, he would have got 76. Don't worry about that. I don't know how he didn't. So.
Oh, they're lucky they pulled the joint down, eh? Anyway, there's some great memories from good old Water Street Stadium for a lot of people. There's some good memories there as well for a lot of Toowoomba teams over the years as well. Don't worry about that. Southern Hotel shot clock is going out shortly. Now, Jag the Joker. So who's online? So I've got to pick someone that's online here as well. So make sure you pop up now, whoever is online. But we're going to head out to the Southern Hotel now. Joining us, here he is, Penrith Trots. Shayne Mogg, how you going?
Oh, mate, it'd be going all right if the punt was going a bit better for me. Hey, guys, I can't hear Stevie Glover, but I heard the questions asked. And given the fact that he's 912, was it Larry Bird the best player he played against?
Jeez, he's going good if he was up against Larry, that's for sure.
We used to roll the same haircuts.
Going all right. Just back here to do the Jag the Joker again, as we did last week. Chrissy Tate still hasn't come in and picked up his voucher in the drive. So if we can chase him up, he's obviously as punctual as these horses he backs.
Yeah, so we'll chase him up. We'll see what he's doing. Now, we saw that ad there before, Southern Hotel. We know the changes this weekend, a little bit more happening for people that want to get out and actually get back and see you guys.
Yeah, mate, a little bit of normality creeping back into Queensland. Obviously, we are doing our best to accommodate as many people as we can. We've got the 10 limit. We're doing 3 sessions a day. So from 9 o'clock onwards, as you would have heard from Ree, we're doing those 3 sessions and we're splitting them up so we can sort of get a few of you in for a great meal. And, you know, the most important thing in my behalf is I'm missing a schooner. I'm lucky enough that I've had a few takeaway meals from the Southern, but not even I've been able to crack a schooner. If Greggy pans back to the bar, they haven't even put the taps up there for me yet. I can't even steal one.
Your time will come. Patience is the key.
Who needs a cup, mate? Just get your head under it.
That'll be it, mate. First day.
But the really important message for people this weekend though is booking. So you need people to book in if they want to come in. Obviously, just with those restrictions.
Give us a call at the hotel, and we'll get you in as soon as we can. Like I said, I think we're booked out Saturday. Sunday's filling up, but there are bookings throughout the week, and I'm not sure about next weekend. I think there's still plenty available. So, if you do want to. Doll yourself up a little, throw on your best pair of jeans and a flannel and come down to the Southern and crack a steak and have a skilly, come on down.
All right, so pop down and see the Southern. Now we're here to play Jag the Joker. So again, Chris Tate said he picked up $25 last week. So tell us again the situation, how it works, and while you're doing that, I'll find someone online that's going to play this week. So tell us about it.
Yeah, no worries. So what we're doing is obviously we can't give away the cash because we're not open as we would be usually on a Thursday night. So we thought we'd reward your listeners for putting up with us and our sponsorship by throwing something their way so they don't have to pay for their first drink. So what we're doing, if you can find the Joker left, there's 51 cards up there. If you can manage to pick the Joker by row and card, we'll give you $50 bar voucher, which you can use for a meal or skewies. Oh, failing that, if you miss, we'll still give you $25, which will cover a meal and a drink anyway. So, just want to make that first day back to the pub a little bit better for each of the punters.
Righto, let's see. I'll pick one here at random. Righto, so I click my eyes wherever my finger lands. It's on. Joel Seaby. Right.
You'll go good. Say Joel Stower.
No, you can't do that, easy. No, we're not that dodgy,
He'll
mate.
probably need a freebie.
I know where it is.
The Parramatta lose.
Don't get him started on that. No, Joel Seaby. So, right.
How good does the Lakers go in the top 10 players?
Yeah, they got a few.
5. Stop
it.
But yeah, who have we got?
So Joel Seaby. Joel Seaby is our player this week. So Joel, I hope he's still he's online. So how it works, Joel, you write in the comments section what card you want Moggy to turn over, and we'll see what you end up.
Row and number.
So row and number. So what is it? How many rows there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we got? Yep.
We go on 7 to 6 cards.
Righto. So keep us in suspense here. So Joel Seaby. So write in the comments. Here we go. Row 5, card 1. He's after.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Card 1. He's going the orange. Geez, nothing good has ever come out of orange.
Oh, I thought he had it.
$25 bar voucher. He hasn't jagged the Joker. He's got the King of Spades. The spades are prevalent at the moment.
So there we go. So that's what. So right. So 20. So Joel Seaby's picked up a $25 voucher. What's that? He just drops into the drive-through.
Yeah, well done, Joel. Just come in and see Big Greg from 1 o'clock tomorrow, mate. He'll have that voucher sitting there ready for you, and we'll throw in a Great Northern hat for you, Joel, if you can get in on time. Don't borrow Chris Tate's watch. Obviously, it's Cactus. But yeah, so well done. So we've got
I'll save you
coming in for a few free skewies, and in the next 6 weeks we'll give away more. Hopefully, someone can jag the Joker.
Just stick a tin of JD out there, mate.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, don't worry about the voucher. I know what it'll be going towards.
Couple of tins of JD.
So that'll suit him. So that's where we got. So that's what we're sitting at. So Joel Seaby's picked up the voucher there. But now, as he said, so the Southern this weekend, or if you want to pop out there, so jump out to the Southern Hotel. And you can, so as you said, like I said, I had like all of our different outlets at the moment, so allowed a maximum of 10. So make sure you jump in and grab your bookings, but still they're running the takeaway option there as well. And make sure you tune into the show each week around this time. As I said, we just pick someone at random to play Jag the Joker. So Chris Tate was last week. So Chris Tate, he's got to drop down and pick his up. So he got $25. And so did Joel Seaby. So he picked up $25. So they're our two winners there. So as we continue to play Jag the Joker. Southern Hotel shot clock segment, boys. What have we got this week? Now, shot clock from the Southern. Questions this week. NRL. So one referee. Now, this has often been talked about in the past, just saying that they should go back to one referee. The two referees is no good. Well, now they're saying they're doing it as a cost-cutting measure. But anyway, so one referee, good idea or a bad idea? Bubs, you can kick us off. One or two, good or bad?
I think it's a great idea. Yeah,
Why?
I think it should be one all the time. You're getting two referees, and you get the game refereed in two different ways, right? You go back to the old school, one referee, let him dictate the way the game's going to get played, and go from there. Everyone's getting muddled up with two in the game, so. I mean, good. One referee, and they still got the old bunker, I suppose, haven't they? So
they got a bit of help. So you're a one man.
We got one and a quarter referees. Yeah,
1 1/4 referees. Joel, one or two, good or bad?
I'm the same as Bubs, mate. Go back to the old school, one referee, same set of the same 10 meters. Then it's not the one bloke doing 110, the other bloke doing another 10. I love getting out there and yelling at the referee to get them on side and get them back 10. So there'd be only one bloke to yell at this time. So yeah, that's good. I reckon keep it with the one.
Steve,
it'll be 7 meters because his fitness won't be able to keep up running so much. I reckon it'll be ordinary. I reckon the game's changed because of it. Because of so much goes on in the ruck now.
Exactly.
It's different to back in the old day when there's one ref, you tackle, you get off them and you do it. But there's
Around
so much
the
that
legs.
happens in a ruck.
Yeah.
You need something happening there. And I just think it'll make it even more messy through there. I reckon you'll see teams like Melbourne absolutely love it. The wrestle teams will absolutely dominate and be able to control play. And the wily old veterans that'll maybe grab hold of the Jats crackers and give them a rip and get away with all the old these old style tactics. But I don't know if they've got the ability.
They've still got the video ref.
Yeah, but I don't think they've still got the ability. Yeah, but a video ref's not going to be able to, like, all the subtle stuff you get away with the wily old veterans. I think they'll come to the fore.
You get away with nothing with TV these days.
Exactly.
No, that's right.
Oh, but no,
but you don't get penalised for it.
Yeah, we'll all go upstairs and say, mate, he's grabbed his wheels. Have a look.
Yeah, what? You can go back 5 or 6 plays.
Yeah, squirrel gripper.
Mate, they're in their ear the whole time. They're in their ear. They're in their ear the whole time.
No. So
there's too many influences on the game as it is.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm with Steve, the exception of all those things that will happen. I actually reckon it'll be horrific because you watch. We talked about the bunker. They'll over referee it now because they'll have more interference from the outside. I reckon, and as you said, like it's just. I think I reckon the game will change dramatically with one referee because he said all the things that'll happen with the wrestle, the 10 meters, and what's going to happen with what's getting said in their ear from upstairs as well. I reckon the poor old referee out in the middle will be. What
do they get? How much are they going to save him? What does a ref get paid a game?
Well, I don't know, and I found if that's the reason, and that's what I'm sure.
They're all big contracts.
Yeah, but it's part of you.
130 a year, 140 a year or something, aren't they?
Yeah, but how much? Yeah. What'd you say they are?
I think it'd be at least 140 a year, I reckon.
Well, what about how much?
Pay cut like everyone else?
Maybe about.
Well, what about the executives and that? They'd be on 10 times that. So
I'm sure they're all taking the cut, though, aren't they?
Referees are a part of your product, just a part of. It's like going out there saying, "Oh, we'll play without goalposts." Like it's just, I find it bizarre. I couldn't believe that was one of the cutbacks. Go back to one referee. That's why I fear.
But I reckon there's probably a lot of workings in the background. It was probably going to, all the backlash about the two that's probably happening anyway.
There'll be two because the video referee will be having his go as well. So anyway,
can we get rid of the touchies as well?
You want to get rid of the bunker as well? Just one referee and that's it?
I think we should get rid of the bunker. Yeah, it should go.
Get rid of the bunker and get the in-goal referees back.
Does anyone here like the bunker?
No, way too many shots in
They're not consistent.
Well, what was it worth? It was worth millions, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Get rid of it?
Yeah. Shut it down and sell it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the theory of it, the theory of what it's supposed to do is good, but as we all know, it doesn't work out that way. That's the issue. So anyway, that's our thoughts there on that. I've kind of changed my tune a bit now. I was listening to Brad Newley. The second question around this is just the changes to the NBL salary cap. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? So the changes that have come in, obviously, they've cut an import. Rosters have been cut back with numbers-wise as well. Pay cuts generally across the board, and it's all obviously as a result of COVID. And as I said, I might change my position on this now. Like Brad Newley made a really good point, didn't he? Really around Joel Seaby's answer. $3 million, they reckon they'll save by one referee. Sorry, just to go back on that.
Man, Joel Seaby, isn't he?
Yeah, he knows everything except where the joker is. But $3 million, so save $3 million. So I don't know what. So there you go.
That'd be travel and everything, accommodation, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So saving of $3 million by just having one whistleblower in the middle. But anyway, so NBL, the changes. Start with you, Steve. What do you reckon? Good, bad?
Oh, I can see why it happens because, and they're in the position they can do it because they're owned by a single bloke. So he just said, well, this is what's going to happen. And you saw the NBA, they're like comparing them to the leagueies who jumped up and down. Oh, we're not taking pay cuts. It's interesting to see the perspective that they've taken. Like, well, if we don't take a hit, there's no product in the future. So it's different. It seems like there's just two different perspectives on it. They're sort of about moving the NBL forward and making sure there is a product to play in for the next couple of years coming, where the NRL guys have been like, well, that's my money. I deserve to get paid it, whether it's to the detriment of the game or not. So probably had to happen. And we've seen some big names opt out of their contracts too, with Bryce Cotton.
Casper
it was
Ware.
just about to be naturalised as an Aussie too. So, but it's just something that has to happen. And for those reasons that Brad said too, it's not because of the clubs. Like, it's the businesses that back the clubs too. They need that support from the. So that's going to be across the board. That's not NBL. That's going to be felt through sporting organisations right down to grassroots. So it's just something that had to happen, I think. It is a shame because they were flying and, that'll but in saying that, if they do the right thing now, they can put themselves in a position to get back stronger and better when it all is said and done.
Yeah, as I said, I probably changed my tune after listening to Brad Newley. Originally, I thought it was crazy, and for a couple of reasons. One is that I would have thought, particularly around the cutting of an import, now with all the other countries, Europe and the other Americas and things like that, I thought, wouldn't it, if you're an import, and again, we don't know where this situation finishes, but wouldn't it Australia be, with the way it's handled the COVID situation as opposed to other places around the world, an attractive place to go for that reason? Safety, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you wouldn't really want to be lined up going Italy, would you? Or some of those other places. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of thought, well, maybe, but again,
could have got a bigger import.
But again, as I said, then I sit there and you listen to the way Brad Newley put it, and I think Stevie hit the nail on the head there, aren't they? They're thinking sort of long-term wise for the game and thinking, well, it's not just my pocket. They're thinking, well, it's the sponsor's pocket that goes into the club's pocket, which then goes into our pocket. And if you cut it off at that source, or they don't have the money, no one has the money. So, and the NBL has been down that slippery slide before.
And being a one-man band, like Larry Kesselman owns it, so I don't know what his business is or where he got his money from, but I'm guessing
it must be good.
Industry. Oh, yeah, I'd say he's going fairly good. Fairly cluey bloke.
Genius. Troy, thoughts?
Oh, as you said, it's not whether it's good or bad. I think it's essential, isn't it? Like all leagues across Australia at the moment, everyone's going to have to take a pay cut, and not just leagues, but just business in general. There's pay cuts everywhere. So, yeah, for it to survive, obviously they've got to take a hit for a year or two, and then hopefully it prospers again with the lead-up work they've done the last couple of years. You know, it's a great product, and you can see it's just going to go from strength to strength, but just going to be a year or two of flattening out a bit, and then hopefully spike again.
Yep. Joel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think that you hit the nail on the head there, Troy. It's a great product, and for them to sustain that great product, they're going to need to obviously spend the dollars wisely as opposed to throwing them at a wall when they're probably going to be hard to find, more so than anything. So I'm with you on that. It was interesting to hear Brad's thoughts on that, as he sort of said, like an older guy sort of getting that good money. I wonder if his career now is prolonged that little bit longer to sort of make up for perhaps the loss of, that he might have to take now. I don't know. But, I'm sure there'll be a few guys in that sort of boat.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be really interesting to see. I mean, we still got to see how things work around what the comp looks like, etc. as well at the moment yet.
That's right, yeah.
So all of that sort of stuff to come. Now, third question, Southern Hotel shot clock. We've all been intrigued, of course, by the Chicago Bulls' The Last Dance. So the episodes 7 and 8 aired the other night, and they went into Jordan's baseball career. So the sudden retirement from basketball after the passing of his father, played baseball, played at the level he did there, sold out stadiums, smaller league stadiums playing baseball. Much maligned, of course, because he wasn't just any ordinary rookie coming in to play baseball. He was the greatest basketballer of all time playing baseball. So it had all this sort of expectation on him. And I think, generally speaking, it is just straight out classified as a complete disaster, a complete failure, his attempt to become a baseballer. In hindsight, watching that again the other night, anyway, we'll get to that. Was it a success? Was Michael Jordan's stint in baseball a success or a failure? Success or failure?
I reckon it was fairly successful, eh? Like from what they put on that documentary there the other night, he obviously had the opportunity to play in the MLB, but knocked it on the head because he wasn't just going to be a part of it as a fallback option. But I mean, from what I don't know a thing about baseball, or The only thing I know is about the old Louisville Slugger. But from what, those knowledgeable people who are making comments on the documentary, like he was doing some pretty amazing things for a bloke who's, what was he, 12 months into it, if that, 6 months worth of training, and then he's hurled in there. So, and with his drive and his desire to win and his desire to succeed, I think he would have succeeded, no dramas at all.
So success from you, Troy?
Yeah, I think so.
Depends on which way you're looking from it as success. I tell you, it was a success for us for the Chicago Bulls and for Michael Jordan. If he wouldn't have retired and played baseball when he did, he might have played maybe 1 or 2 years because he was burnt out. You can see from the thing of the night, he was cooked. He was burnt. So I think those couple of that year and a half off or whatever it was, I think it regained his love of sport. I think getting out and not having the pressure of playing basketball like he did. He got out and play baseball. He still had the crowds and the media and whatnot, but he was used to that. And then it kind of refreshed him, I think. They wouldn't have won another 3 titles that they did if he wouldn't have had that break, for sure. Yeah. So success in that way. And, for a bloke who's hadn't played since he was in the team to come back and get to the level he did and put up a couple of stats he did, I think it was a success there as well. So, and the Chicago Bulls was a success for them. He made them plenty the next 3 years when he came back, didn't he?
Tell you, also successful, the Birmingham Barons. No one ever heard of them.
Exactly. Yeah,
everyone knows who the Birmingham Barons are. They were selling out games and was going ballistic. Steve, what's your thoughts? Success or failure?
Oh, look, as a professional career, it's obviously a failure. But to see what he did on the episodes there and the work ethic he had, and even guys that were trying to make it into there, it worked him out. He'd outwork anybody to be. Obviously, he was just a competitor. Get up early in the morning, he was just swinging bats, and then do all their trainings, do the team trainings, play the games. Then he'd be straight in the net, straight in the cage after it. So no doubt he would have got there if he persisted. It wouldn't have been. I don't think he would have been any sort of superstar. But that's a bloke coming out fresh with a pad. He couldn't play the game of baseball for how long? Since he was 15. So hadn't played a game of baseball for 16 and is on the cusp of making the Major League Baseball in a year. So pretty phenomenal.
And a few over the fence.
Yeah, as a... Did you see him try and catch that one though?
Yeah.
had a big Bo Peep where the old one. It's probably a bit harsh on him because you see the major leagues, they've got the nice padded balls, they jump up and bounce off, and old mate's jumping up in a bit of razor wire, trying to get out of prison. Trying to take a scream up, and then he sees the razor wire coming in the corner of the eye, so I'm sort of, oh geez, I'm out of this.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, I'll let that one go.
It was amazing with the old blisters on the hands, and he's still out there slinging the old bat. How cool was that when he's in the locker room and he's bouncing, he's back playing ball, and he's still there. Yeah. With the.
Yeah.
He's obviously just a sports nut, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And I've probably got the same opinion as you guys. If you want to just talk straight up purely from a professional point of view, it was a failure. It was a dismal failure. And the only reason I say that is because I'm just trying to think of, look at, say, I'll use Anthony Mundine as an example. Played at the highest level of rugby league, then went and achieved the highest level of boxing. So where Michael Jordan obviously played at the absolute highest level of basketball, but he'd never made it to the highest level of baseball. But for all the reasons you guys have pointed out, I think it's the same thing. You have to say it's a success. What he picked up in a year and a half was incredible. Now, I don't want to digress the conversation too far, but it was the most compelling thing I've found with this Jordan thing, and I think we all knew it, but watching it being highlighted was sort of what I think you mentioned before, Steve, with Damien Wright, talking about flicking a switch, was how the competitive drive of that bloke when you watch it, and that particularly when there was a little extra for some reason, like they showed, BJ Armstrong, the other guy, just all of a sudden when he just decided, they've talked about the Tony Kukoc affair, so when they played against them, geez, you just think back now and you think those guys think, oh God, why did we do that? Just be nice to him, just tell him, whatever, just don't, just don't say anything at all. Just let him do whatever he wants. Just yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Like BJ.
Tell you what makes Jordan a nutter. See how he made things up to actually give him drive. He actually made things up.
Yeah.
Instead, he's made it up. But
that guy from Washington, what was his name? Forgot his name. That walked off the game and he said, "Nice game, Mike," or something. Because then he came out the next day and scored 50 odd on him because they played back to backs.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
You know, so
What about
what
his teammate? That one was his name?
Scott Morrell.
Morrell, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're saying, James, if you had been nice to him and sucked up his ass, he probably would have gone the other way and just like trashed you and just wrote you off deluxe.
Well, I mean, if you're playing against him, if I was your teammate, you'd be playing against him.
You've got no other chance. You've just got to go at him, haven't you?
So, you know, but just the way someone went about it after it, he obviously just said, oh, yeah, I'll keep that in the memory bank. And then he comes back 10 times, 1,000 times hard. Like he was the best player arguably ever, but definitely the best player at that time without any motivation, let alone you give him a personal mission. Even look at that when they talked about with Clyde Drexler, when he said, you know, there's comparisons between me and him and he just wasn't on my level. So I just went out there to destroy him. And he did.
Barkley changed the same thing. Yeah.
It was just phenomenal watching some of those things. So I didn't want to digress quickly, but it made me think. Now, you guys have all played sport at a much higher level than myself. So I'm sure there's certain guys you played against where if something ticked them off, they went to another level. Like someone that you like just that went that extra gear when there was something more on the line. Can you name any that you played with in your careers or involved
I can name a couple in cricket. Brad Spenner in outdoor cricket was a bloke where I saw nicest bloke, but I saw a couple of people tick him off one time, and we played in a grand final. He come out and I think he had 150 against us. I was pretty young back then, but a couple of blokes rocked up on the hill and had a cardboard cutout of a spanner, and on the spanner they had written on there, "Spanner is a tool," and Brad proceeded to bludgeon us for about 150. And I still remember thinking to this. I said to this bloke, I said, "What were you thinking?" I was trying a bit of fun. Come out and chase 150, mate. See how much fun it is. But yeah, Brad Spenner was a bloke like that. He flipped the switch big time with the battle.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. You probably mentioned him before, like a guy like Mick Cedar. Like he'd just coast and look like he wasn't trying, and then he'd still look like he wasn't trying, but tear you apart. So
Joel Seaby's going for you. Rudy just ticked off.
That's an Angus switch.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting. Joel, you know, like it's interesting to watch. As I said, like
I reckon Brado had that switch. Like he hate getting beaten in anything, whether it was running, whether it was he had that real that same sort of don't show me that you know even like that fellow that ended up beating him in his last fight, Moraldi. I'm positive that he would have wanted to come back and fight him to beat him. You know what I mean? Like he just had that. No one's like, I know how good I am. You don't, you know, if you're going to beat me, I'm going to come back and do it again. Another one, actually, that Angus switch Steve was talking about, Herman. Herman Eddie Purcell, mate. He is the loveliest bloke, one of my best mates, just as good as gold. But when you spar and if you make his nose bleed, she's on. And like it bleeds all the time. So I mean, you throw a jab, poke him on the nose, bang, it's bleeding. But his eyes just like it's like he takes that blood and he just wants a piece of you. So I remember he used to always just like hit the body with a few jabs, and then if I hit him on the nose and he started bleeding, she'd be I'd just be using the ring like nothing else. So the Herminator, the psycho.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I just thought it was interesting watching that, just as you said, the way Jordan fabricated certain things, or just the way, just whatever he needed to do to get himself going. And as I said, if somebody did something like they talked about BJ Armstrong in that game with Charlotte, or as you said, Barkley in different areas, Tony Kukoc, and once they took something for some reason personal to the next level, it was just, yeah.
Got to get your motivation from somewhere, I suppose, haven't you?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. That's a look at the Southern Hotel shot clock. Don't forget, next week as well, we'll head out to the Southern Hotel, and again, we'll have another opportunity to play Jag the Joker. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show with our Rocks and Diamonds, thanks to Hogans Family Jewelers and a Semi-Pros Multi of the Week.
Hi guys, Lockie here from Hogans Family Jewelers. Today we're looking at how you select a perfect diamond. We need to consider the 4 C's: cut, colour, clarity and carat weight. In terms of discussing the cut of a diamond, we need to consider the aspects of the qualities of cut. At Hogans we only source triple excellent cut diamonds. In terms of colour, we look for the perfect white stone. We source stones from a D through to a G in colour, the top 4 colour gradings. Clarity is another really important factor in selecting your diamond. We don't want to look at the diamond every day and see inclusions or marks in the stones that distract from the beauty of the piece. The final of the 4 C's is carat weight. A lot of people believe that a diamond's value is based just on its carat weight. This isn't truly the case. It's a culmination of all the 4 C's put together. There's one final hidden factor that I need to discuss about finding the perfect diamond. It's called fluorescence. When she wears the ring in natural sunlight, UV light, where the diamond is supposed to sparkle at its optimum level, you don't want any reaction. You don't want the diamond to go foggy, or a milky colour, or even a little neon blue sort of tinge through the diamond. This is why we only sell nil fluorescence diamonds and make sure that that diamond stays crystal clear whether you're indoors or outdoors. There'll be no reaction to natural sunlight. Fluorescence is one of the largest factors of devaluing a diamond. Be careful. Out there you might find diamonds that seem cheap, but truly they're going to be cheap for a reason. At Hogans, we prefer our clients to experience superior quality diamonds. We only source the highest grade of GIA certified diamonds. That's the Gemological Institute of America, the harshest grading lab in the world. Some of you may have done some research on diamonds before and may fully understand the 4 C's. But if not, we've got knowledgeable staff that will help you and guide you through selecting the perfect diamond. At the end of the day, it's all about quality, and at Hogans, we prefer quality.
Big thanks to Hogans Family Jewelers for sponsoring the program. Thanks to Hogans Family Jewelers to present our rocks and diamonds. Pop down and see Lockie Hogan and his team there so you can see they are the experts when it comes to all your jewellery needs. You probably learn a little bit about diamonds there looking at that little advert, so it should be all more learned. Hogans Family Jewelers, rocks and diamonds. Guys, this week, actually I saw it was on Twitter. I saw Blair Gibson from Racing Nation talking to him, and he was talking about some of the worst sporting logos or names when he's looking back some of the old East Tigers, the worst tiger, like clip art sort of tiger as the logo. So I thought that's a good idea for talking. So best or worst sports names or logos that have ever existed, or sports names. There's been some horrors over the years. Anyone got any? We can go either or, good or bad. Here we go. Now, here we go. So Zach's brought us some of the ones that I found here. Okay, so have a look at some of these. Seriously, the Montgomery biscuits. Yeah,
Biscuit.
The FL fart.
What?
Thailand Tobacco Monopoly Football Club. Yeah, there's a good one. So the Long Beach State Dirtbags. Yeah, that's a good one. And whatever, the University of California Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. Yeah, see, there's been some awesome names over the years. What's a couple others I saw there? How about the Scottsdale Community College Fighting Artichokes? Can't make this stuff up. Seriously, the Akron Rubber Ducks. Right, what do we got? Best or worst, or most embarrassing or weirdest sports names or logos?
One of Mountaineers' great players, Anthony Trollope, when he first came into Toowoomba from the Gundawindi Mud Ducks locally. So he was I'll tell you what, they had a purple and black jersey too. It was with big mud ducks written across the back. So good old Troy, he pulled that one out of training a few times. So mud duck.
The Mud Ducks, yeah. Love it.
Maybe,
Joel, what have you got?
Must be an athletic type of species anyway. Mud duck.
Sticking on the bird theme, the New Orleans Pelicans. Like, you're on a national level. It's not just like you're playing these sort of competitions, whether you're playing the Thailand Monopoly or whatever the hell it was, and the Fard FC and all the rest of it. You know, like, this is the top echelon, the NBA, you know, the Chicago Bulls, you know, like proper names, and you've got the Pelicans.
Yeah, always found it another
garbage. Yeah, it's strange.
Pelicans here. Troy, what do you got? Got any interesting?
Talking about having a name that's got no bite about it or anything. The Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the same playing field too, isn't it?
Yeah, like you get something with a bit of bite about it. Something that's, like you said, the Bulls or the Dragons.
But the interesting part I find with the Jazz is obviously because were they originally in New Orleans or wherever they were Jazz before the team got moved to Utah. You've got nothing to do if the Jazz. I don't know, but it's not. Yeah, but all of a sudden they kept that name. You're right, it just never really
just change it, will you? Jeez. Yeah, Jazz for me.
Yeah, no, the old Utah Jazz, not bad. But as I said, a few of those ones that I found before that Zach put up before, and you take your pick, any of them, seriously, they're just ridiculous. But the one I thought was best was the Scottsdale Community College, the Fighting Artichokes.
I would like to see their emblem.
Zach, have you got that there? Like it was on that same article you were flicking through before. Was the second one? What? I'll show it to you. Scottsdale fighting.
The article
college,
I read. The article
fighting.
I read about them.
Artichokes.
It said no word in the English language is going to make a legume scary.
There it is.
Isn't that the
Scottsdale
truth?
Community College fighting artichokes. That's them.
Cracking artichoke too.
But what is what is a fighting artichoke?
El Paso Chihuahuas.
Yeah, the El Paso Chihuahuas. That's another one. The Akron Rubber Ducks.
Akron Rubber Ducks. It's a bit on tribes level, that one.
The Rubber
Mud
Ducks.
Ducks.
Yeah. Now, there's been a few. I'll tell you. I'll throw a couple more out here quickly as well. There's been a few that I've seen around. So I'll go Australia. The Dapto Canaries, a rugby league team, I believe. And there's a couple that always. So when I worked in obviously local journalism here, some of the names of some of the teams in the Steve, you know, a few of these obviously been played in it. In the Darling Downs Rugby Union, the Water Rats,
Chiller River Rats,
the Water Rats,
River Rats,
Warwick,
River Rats.
I'd never. What? How? Like when you're sitting there around there, as you said, and going, "Oh, what will we call ourselves, or what name will we use?" And you come up with Water Rats, and yeah, same thing. Are Water Rats synonymous with Oakey? With Warwick or something, or?
I don't know. They're probably dunking a couple in the bucket. Get rid of them.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. So, what is it? Was it Kingaroy Red Ants?
Is there echidnas? Some of the echidnas?
Yeah, Roma echidnas.
Roma echidnas.
Yeah, the St George
Condamine
Filmax.
Condamine
Yeah,
Cods.
the cods, yeah. Out to the
Condamine
fish bowl.
Cods.
Chinchilla
Yeah.
River Rats.
USQ Gatton Black Pig. There were some good ones. There was some different names out there. I'll give you the red eye. But yeah, sort of thought. So, what about? Is there any that are fitting that are like really good sporting names? You thought, oh, that's
Yeah, I got
up
one.
there. Yeah.
I
What do you got?
always liked the Milwaukee Brewers. It's the capital beer town in city in America, and fittingly they're called the Milwaukee Brewers.
The
I reckon
Brewers.
That's a good one. Brewers.
Yep.
I've gone with a
Yep.
boxer. This is a ripping name, this one. Old Eric Esch, a.k.a. Butterbean. That's a doozy of a nickname, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it'd fit him well. Is it Joel Seavey? What's he got? The Muckadilla Mud Crabs. There's another one.
Joel might have played for him.
The Muckadilla Mud
Yeah.
Crabs. It's a classic one. There you go. What have you got any, Steve? Any you reckon really fitting? Mountaineers?
No, I don't think so. The Trojans.
The Trojans.
The Trojans. The Grey Cavaliers.
Yeah, that's a great name. They've really done well with that. Buffalo Bills. Yeah, look at that. There's a few there. So, but there's been a few over the years, as you said, where they don't really fit the bill. What about the Tall Blacks? That was
They all try and jump on that little bandwagon, don't they?
yeah.
Yeah. Silver Ferns.
They're not even very tall. That's their problem.
Yeah.
Well, they are Alex Pledger.
Stephen Adams would help. Houston Texans. It's sort of pretty obvious, but not a bad one. So, righto, let's have a look. So let's have a look at our at the Hogans Family Jewelers Rocks and Diamonds of the Week. So some good and bad sports logos. We've rattled off a few there for you. Now, see if we can find a winner this week. I don't know what to do this week. I'd like a few that aren't really at my sort of odds, so we can't really go there. Who's got a winner for us this week?
I think your fans would just want a winner from you, mate. I don't think they really care too much about the odds. They just want you to produce a winner for once.
I'll try.
So if you got one,
I just can't bring
toss it up,
myself
would
to anything under. What do we got? Who's got a winner for us?
I'll go.
Go, Troy. What do we got?
Gold Coast. Where are we going? The Guineas, race 8. Going to stick with, where are we? Number 10, Exhilarates.
Yep.
First up, I like the $6. I think it's good odds. I think the favourite, Command and Conquer's the favourite in the race at $3.90. Exhilarates at $6. Got to come from 15, but I think I'll worry it. First up, what's it like first up?
Loves the Gold Coast.
2 for 1, exactly, James. 3 for 2 wins and a third at the coast. So Exhilarates for me. $6.
All right. Joel, what are you running with?
Well, I was going to back. I was going to tip Toowoomba Race 5, number 2, Headspace. It's $3.40 when I wrote it down before. I've just looked. It's about $2 something now, I think. So if you're going to take them odds, I'll be tipping this thing. King of Leogrance in Flemington Race 6, number 2, King of Leogrance. We haven't seen the best of this horse yet. In the Adelaide Cup, it was just phenomenal. And it'll be thereabouts in the Melbourne Cup, I reckon, this year. King of Leogrance, it'll just demolish these. $2.40. Get the house on.
When's the Ramsden? It gets the golden ticket into the Melbourne
Straight
Cup.
in. Straight into the Cup.
Steve, winner? Something?
Yeah, I do. I got a special this week. The Gold Coast Race 4, the benchmark 72 up 1,400 metres. Lashoni. It's had a couple of Bailey Norris aboard, and it's had a couple of tune-ups.
What are you trying to say, mate?
Step up to 1,400. Oh, and you can tell when a horse just gets dropped out the back and they truck home pretty well.
Bit of bad luck, you're trying to say.
Yeah, luck in running.
Just couldn't find a run a few times there, but I think this will be a stake. It'll drop back there, but on feature race days at the Gold Coast, often you want to get out wide and swoop home, so it can change. So for some reason, it just changes there on feature days, and this will be doing that. And it'll get home pretty hard. So happy to be on its back at $8.50. I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, $8.50, mate. Nice one.
Lashoni at the Gold Coast. All right, I'll go. I tipped this one a couple of weeks ago. I shouldn't say it let me down, but if you bet each way, it didn't let you down, but I don't, so it did let me down. It's Flemington Race 7, number 5, Super Titus. Steps up to a 2,000-metre event here at Flemington. Goes quite well at Flemington as well. I said it's a couple of runs leading up have been good for a race like this. So I think the favourite's Dead Set Airborne, that Rupture. Be very, very hard to beat. But yeah, hopefully there's enough speed in the race, and big Flemington straight Super Titus can get to the outside and it can win the race. So that's what I like. So I'll be on it. Super Titus, Flemington Race 7, number 5. All right. That's our look at our winners for this week, or hopefully.
How we go last week?
No good.
Second. I ran second, mine.
No, it's not a win job. It's still 0 from 4, mate.
Mate, it's a cash back race.
Can't be cash back each way.
Cash back race. No.
That's the only way you get cash back. You've only got $1.02 a place.
No. Race 1. First 6 races or whatever it is.
Cash back. Righto. What's on this
Cash
weekend?
back.
Golf,
happening?
we're back at the foursomes.
Yeah, Sunday. We're in.
Who's playing?
Myself.
Red Hots on the old Pool Noodle Classics.
You tell you what, you ought to score 50 points to be. You ought to score 45 plus to finish in the top 10. Now we got myself, Steve, Nathan Suzolka,
The Gong.
The Iceman.
and Tiger Woods himself, Trevor Grieve.
I was talking to the Gong. He's iced his feet up again. And he is ready to roll. He reckons he can play 36.
He went around. He went around last week with Tiger, Trevor, and just was witness to another scintillating display from Tiger Grieve. He's going unbelievable, that bloke.
How's Tiger Grieve going to go in the noodle zone and play?
Oh, mate, he eats them up.
He's
Don't worry about him. He'll be fine. He loves them. So, yeah. So, back to the foursomes with golf. That's on Sunday. So, I'll be out there, doing that. So, that's what I'm. Hopefully, we can find a winner or two as well for you there as well. Righto, that wraps up the show. That's been really good. So, it's great to have Brad Newley on board. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, next week as well, we'll play Jag the Joker again. So, a chance to win more money there at the Southern Hotel. Actually, next week, our guest as well, he's already lined up good to go. And if you want to listen to a really good podcast, if you listen to Michael Witt featured on a podcast with It's called Rugby League Guru.
Yeah,
really, really, really interesting to listen to. And he's always had the idea to want to get Mick on the show. And anyway, yeah, so on to that. And I was talking to him last night, and he's keen. He'll come on next week, so I'll have a chat to him. Pretty incredible. Again, just talk about local guys from our area who have done great things and achieved a lot from Toowoomba. So to talk to him,
one of the most humble blokes going too, isn't he?
Yeah, so to learn about what he did through the NRL, what he did in Super League, played rugby, all of those sort of things as well, and some of the players that he played with. And if you listen to that podcast, as I said, which I highly recommend you do, you hear some pretty incredible stories. So he'll be our guest on the show next week to get us in the mood and ready for round one of the NRL. No, sorry, not round one, round 3 or whatever. Anyway, resumption of the NRL, which will be a week later. So thanks, boys. Nice to chat. So we'll catch you all next week on the Semi-Pros. Thanks for tuning in.
Just about do, mate. Surely. There you go. That's outstanding. That much talent running around in our own backyard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Semi-Pros. The Semi-Pros.